Part 59. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 581. What the man was thinking was, you should be smarter and agree to change seats. It's useless for you to sit here next to the miracle doctor. People don't know who you are, let alone pay attention to you. My third master gave me an order that you must change places with the eldest lady. Otherwise, how could the eldest lady get close to the miracle doctor, and how could the third master achieve his goal? It turned out that it was really because of the elixir that Fang 11er got close to him. Yan Xianglue wondered whether Fang 11er could not handle the square family's affairs. After all, she was far behind her third uncle in terms of cultivation and qualifications. It's just that she is the direct daughter of the eldest family member. Her grandfather, father, and brother who supported her are not here. She is a woman and can't stand alone. It's normal to have trouble settling. Watching the people next to her get up and leave, she knew that Fang 11er would come here and sit next to her. Sure enough, after a moment, Fang 11er, who was sitting not far from her, stood up and came over, sat down next to her, and said to her with a smile, "Miracle Doctor, you don't mind, so we can chat more easily." Yan Xianglue glanced at her, saw her blinking hard at her, and said expressionlessly, "I'm watching the game, I'm afraid I don't have time to chat." "It doesn't matter, we can watch the game together," Fang 11er said without any annoyance. She said this so that people around her could understand at a glance that she was here to please the miracle doctor. Yan Xianglue didn't respond and looked away, continuing to watch the game. However, she was holding a paper ball in her hand, which was given to her by Fang 11er. The people next to him curled their lips. The miracle doctor was so flattering that they ignored Fang 11er and continued to watch the game. This year's competition is more intense than any other continental competition and is very exciting to watch. Yan Xianglue put the paper ball into the space and opened it in the space, so that the content on the note could be seen immediately. It read, "Xianglue, no one from the Fang family needs to give you face. My third uncle wants an explosive spirit pill. There is something wrong with his practice. I suspect that he has practiced evil skills. My eldest brother and second brother have already. There is news about my father, and my grandfather will be fine. I will protect myself. Don't worry, just ignore me. I will go find you when the matter is resolved." A dark light flashed under Yan Xianglue's eyes. The explosive spirit pill is a pill that needs to be used to save the spiritual roots when their spiritual energy is exhausted. There are generally two reasons for the depletion of spiritual roots and spiritual energy. One is that it is artificially destroyed, and the other is that the spiritual roots are damaged due to practicing evil skills and the spiritual energy is depleted little by little. No matter which one it is, if there is no explosive spiritual pill to save it, the spiritual root will eventually be destroyed due to the exhaustion of spiritual energy. If the spiritual root is exhausted, it is unlikely to be restored, and the person's path to cultivation will be cut off. Yan Xianglue was surprised that there were people practicing evil arts in a big family like the Fang family. Isn't this self-destructive? After all, a big family like the Fang family has its own cultivation techniques, so there is no need to learn evil techniques to improve the level of cultivation, right? Could it be that Fang Xia's third uncle practiced evil skills in order to seize the position of head of the family and want to surpass her father, the next head of the Fang family? This possibility is very high, otherwise why her grandfather stayed in seclusion for a long time and something happened to her father? Thinking that if people are forced to have no way out, they will do anything, Fang 11er is probably very unsafe. Yan Xianglue immediately rummaged through the space and found some 6th grade life-saving elixirs and some poisonous elixirs. She put them all in a kinkan bag and gave them to Fang 11er calmly. Fang 11er was stunned when she felt the kinkan bag in her hand. Before she could react, Yan Xianglue sent a message to her, "There are life-saving elixirs and some poisonous elixirs in it." They are all explained. Take a look for yourself and you will know no matter what, whether it's self-defense or counterattack, at least it's a guarantee. Xianxia quickly lowered her eyes. She was once again moved by Yan Xiangluo. Although she knew her current situation, she did not stay away from herself because she was worried about getting into trouble. Instead, she helped herself in her own way. After her grandfather and father's accident, all her former friends and relatives voluntarily severed ties with her, for fear of being implicated by her. She only felt the connection and help from Yan Xiangluo, which prevented her heart from completely becoming cold. At least one friend was willing to stand behind her and support her. Fang 11er did not refuse Yan Xiangluo's help. These elixirs and poison pills were very important to her. As Yan Xiangluo said, they were at least a guarantee. The third uncle is holding back for two reasons. One is because the incense has fallen, and the other is because he hasn't found the flying disc yet. Although everyone in the tribe knew that the square plate was in the hands of Grandpa, the third uncle suspected that Grandpa had given the square plate to her. She had to admit that the third uncle still knew how much Grandpa loved her, and Grandpa had indeed given the square plate to her. Just because third uncle doesn't know now, it doesn't mean that he will never know. If Zhangzilu needs it, he will definitely ask third uncle for benefits again on the condition of knowing Fangpan. Even if she didn't take out the square plate, her third uncle wouldn't be polite to her, and she might not be able to escape unscathed. With the elixir and poisonous elixir given by Yan Xiangluo, there is an extra level of certainty. Fang 11er sent a message to her, "Thank you." Yan Xiangluo did not send any more messages to talk to her. She could say something occasionally, but she kept saying that she would be discovered. Xianxia naturally knew it, so the two of them sat together and watched the game. In the first round of the competition, 3 people in the arena had very different cultivation levels. After just one move and it was over, the other 5 arenas all stood and fought for a long time. Xian was the last one to finish in the arena, narrowly winning. Chi Hao was so happy that he stood up and cheered. Xian looked at him and smiled. This kid's love for him was not in vain. Look, at the critical moment, it was still for him. The embarrassment and exhaustion after the battle were forgotten, and he straightened his back and walked out of the ring. After he walked off the ring, the first round was completely over. The people for the second round started to take the stage. There was no one in the second round that Yan Xiangluo wanted to see, so his attention turned away. Choose the right person to see their luck and test their soul-controlling power. After watching it for a long time, she suddenly remembered that she had not shown Xia's luck. If she looked at her luck, she would know if something would happen to her. Yan Xiangluo turned to look at Fang 11er and was stunned. How could her fate be like this? On Fang 11er's head, he saw a large red mass of luck, which was normal. The red color represented a disaster, but Fang 11er's luck could not be seen by Yu Xiangluo, as it seemed to be changing at any time. How is this going? Yan Xiangluo thought about it and looked more carefully. At this glance, she really saw the problem and knew why Fang 11er's fate was like this. She took a breath of air. Could it be that the Fang family has a very powerful celestial master? The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 582. Chapter 582, Being Changed. Because she could see that Fang 11er's luck had been changed. Oh my God, this is the first time she has seen that a person's destiny can be changed. If she hadn't been practicing the power of controlling souls for the past 7 days, she would not have been able to tell how much progress she has made. Yan Xiangluo frowned. This news surprised her so much. Changing someone else's destiny, wanting to do this is not something that ordinary celestial masters can do. Changing a person's luck is equivalent to changing a person's destiny. Interfering with such a big cause and effect will be punished by God. Seriously, it will affect your luck and longevity. Who is so courageous and has such a powerful heavenly master, who is not afraid of being punished by heaven? Yuan Xianglue was extremely shocked. Xianxia was extremely confused when she saw Yan Xianglue staring at her for a long time, the expression in her eyes changing again and again. Why did she look at herself like this? It was like she was seeing something incredible. Fang 11er secretly tugged on Yan Xianglue's sleeve. Yan Xianglue came back to her senses, glanced at Fang 11er, gathered her emotions and looked away, and turned her head to continue watching the second round of the game. She didn't tell Fang 11er that her destiny had been changed. There was no solution yet. If she knew, it would only cause trouble for her. She seemed to be watching the game, but in fact, the power of soul control was being used all the time. She wanted to see to what extent Fang 11er's destiny had been changed, and if there was any way to solve it. In her consciousness, the Long family's soul-controlling technique slowly unfolded. She remembered that the next thing she had to practice was the technique of changing the path of luck. It would be great if she could understand it now. It just so happened that Xianxia was by his side, so he could give himself a try and help her at the same time. Time passed little by little, and Yan Xianglue's mind was in her consciousness. From time to time, she turned her head to look at Fang 11er, wondering about her fate. Fang 11er was confused and her heart was pounding. What happened to you, Xianglue? The people in the Fang family secretly watched Fang 11er and Yuan Xianglue and kept going back to report them, thinking that Yuan Xianglue was impatient with Fang 11er, and the third master of the Fang family frowned so hard that he could catch a mosquito. He was thinking about how to get Yan Xianglue to make elixirs for him if Fang 11er couldn't have a good relationship with her. Lu Yu came on stage in the third round. Unfortunately, his opponent was not Xuanhuan. Not only was he not Xuanhuan, but his cultivation level was much lower than him. He didn't even make a move. The opponent just came on stage to go through the motions before admitting defeat and leaving. The speed was extremely fast, for fear that Lu Yu would attack him. So far, this match of his is the least interesting. There is no way, everyone knows his strength. If his opponent doesn't fight hard, he is looking for death. Every time there is a continental competition, someone will lose their life in the competition, especially on the last day of competition. The morning has passed and the game is halfway through. In order to finish the second game today, we didn't take a break at noon. Chi Hao had already taken out the food he had made and ate it, but as a habit, he gave it to Yan Xianglue first. Yan Xianglue didn't eat and continued to practice the soul control technique. She wanted to see if she could see through Fang 11er's luck in being replaced before the end of the day. It was just a good time to go back and think of a solution in the evening. Tomorrow was the last day of the competition and there was not much time. After the competition, she would leave here to do errands, but Fang 11er didn't feel at ease leaving her like this. At this time, outside the competition venue, Miao Nagano was bargaining with a person selling wooden seat signs. He wasted a teleportation mysterious pattern, but he didn't even see the shadow of the magic absorbing bead. Not only was he wasting time, but it also delayed him from watching the continental competition. He only had a teleportation mysterious pattern, and when he came to Yaoguang City, he could only rent a flying spirit beast. He originally thought it was too late, but after the first day of the competition, he heard about Xuanhuan's incident, and the second competition was postponed. Miao Changjai thought in his mind that since Xuanhuan encountered an opportunity, it couldn't be done in a day or two. He rushed there if there was still a chance, so he rented a flying spirit beast. As a result, I encountered something on the way and was delayed for 2 days. I thought I was really late this time, but I didn't expect that Xuanhuan had been in the small world for 7 days. He arrived on the day of the second competition, but half a day had passed. It's time. No, because he spent half a day bargaining with others. Miao Nagano is already used to the fact that the formerly proud heir of the family has fallen to this level. The person who sold the wooden seat sign also knew that if there was any further delay, the wooden sign would be lost, so he sold it to him at half the price given by Miao Nagano. Miao Nagano got the wooden sign and hurried in. As soon as he entered, he heard deafening shouts and the roar of spiritual battles colliding. I felt deeply that the higher continent was better than the lower continent in every aspect, yet such a loud sound could not be heard at all outside the competition venue. Miao Nagano found a seat and sat down, and saw fierce fighting on the 8 competition stages. He glanced at the referees' table. He didn't see clearly who the referees were, but he saw the fiery red figure on the viewing stand next to the referee's table. He was so familiar that he knew that person was Yuan Xianglou without having to see the opponent's face clearly. His eyes fell greedily on Yan Xianglou's face, and he knew that the distance between him and Yan Xianglou was getting farther and farther. She is now a miracle doctor, but she is a monk secretly practicing magic skills. She always hides herself, for fear that if she accidentally leaks it, she will be hunted down. Although Yan Xianglou focused on practicing the soul control technique, she could still feel Miao Changai's unconcealed gaze, which made her mental power stronger and stronger. With her almond-shaped eyes suddenly looking over, she locked her target directly in the vast sea of people. When Yan Xianglou looked over, Miao Changai quickly put on his hood, not daring to look at Yan Xianglou. Yan Xianglou frowned. This person is so shameless, and he still wears a hood on such an occasion? At first glance, he doesn't look like a good person. With just one glance, Yan Xianglou looked away. There were too many people paying attention to her, and they were so far away that she really couldn't tell who they were. As for whether the other party is only curious about her or has other thoughts, she doesn't care. The troops will come to cover up the water and the earth. Seeing that Yan Xianglou did not pay attention to him, Miao Changai breathed a sigh of relief and at the same time felt more unwillingness in his heart. Thinking about the fact that they entered Xuanhuan sect in the first year of assessment, how could they have reached this point because they were obviously superior? The gap between the two can already be described as a world of difference. This thought made him determined to go to the devil world. Only by going there could he have a chance to straighten his back again. Halfway through the game in the afternoon, Yan Xianglou finally knew how Xianxia's luck had been changed and what the situation was now. The heavenly master who took action was quite capable. In order to avoid the punishment from heaven, he borrowed the hands of others to change Xianxia's destiny. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 583. Although it was possible to change someone's destiny, it would take a long time, which was the main reason why she couldn't tell what Fang 11ER's destiny was. Since the transportation has not been completed, not only Fang 11ER's luck cannot be seen, but the current luck of the person who changed the luck with Fang 11ER cannot be seen either. However, because the other party replaced Fang 11ER's good luck, the other party's luck should be getting better and better, and things should go smoothly. After all, if Fang 11ER's luck was not good, no one would spend so much money to change her luck. But looking at Fang 11ER's current appearance, although the other party's luck is not a great one, it should not be a catastrophic one, otherwise Fang 11ER would not be able to sit beside her properly. Ji Zhong came on stage, which also indicated that this round of competition was the last round. Yan Xianglou stopped practicing the power of soul control and looked at the stage intently. As for Fang 11ER's solution, she went back to think about it. Ji Zhong's opponent is not low in strength. He is at the same level of cultivation as him. He is also the only pair of strong opponents who met together today. And because it was the last round of competition, there were only 4 games left out of 100, and the other 3 games were of little interest. Everyone's eyes fell on the ring where Xuanhuan was. Although Xuanhuan was able to fight across different levels, he did not underestimate the opponent because of this, nor did he feel that the opponent he was unlucky to meet was strong. Instead, he felt that this arrangement was good and he could find out how strong the opponents of the same level were before tomorrow's finals. Powerful. The opponent you encounter tomorrow will only be stronger than the one in front of you. When a master fights, he will not be the same as a weak person. Xuanhuan's opponent is a man in his 40s. With just one glance, Xuanhuan knows that the opponent's experience is extraordinary, otherwise he would not have such a calm state of mind, especially it was the sharpness in his eyes that let him know that the other person was a very cruel person. The two looked at each other for a long time, and the results were announced in the other 3 arenas. The man opposite Xuanhuan took the lead. This also indicates that the man lost in the eye contact. Zhangfeng's eyes narrowed slightly. The man was defeated when they looked at each other. He would definitely attack with all his strength and would not give himself any chance. What he wanted was the opponent's all-out attack. In an instant, the 2 figures were no longer visible in the ring. This was the strength of the masters fighting. The people on the viewing platform also became quiet. The shouts from the previous game completely disappeared, and they were all waiting for the final result. Everyone knows that when they see them again, it will be the time for them to decide the winner. Lu Yu sat on the competition stage after passing the test, staring at the ring with squinted eyes. When I saw that Xuanhuan's opponent's cultivation level was 1 level higher than Xuanhuan's, I felt a little gloating. Although I didn't eliminate Xuanhuan myself, I was relieved to be able to eliminate him at this level. But when he saw that the other party made the first move, his heart sank. He knew what this meant. It meant that Xuanhuan's state of mind was much higher than that of the other party, so that the other party could not stand the mental competition and take the lead. Their masters knew very well when fighting each other that if they insist on being strong even though they know that they are not as good as the opponent, the result will be worse. The only way to win is to attack first. Xuanhuan was able to encounter the sea of mind in the small world. It seemed that his state of mind was indeed not that strong. Therefore, his opponent gave up competing with him and took action directly. He wanted to use his 1 level higher cultivation strength to directly knock Xuanhuan off the ring. No one can predict the outcome at this time, and he is not surprised that Xuanhuan can leapfrog the battle. Yan Xianglou held her hands tightly. Although she knew Xuanhuan's strength, the opponent was 1 level higher than him after all. Even if Xuanhuan could fight beyond his level, it would not be easy to win. This battle lasted for half an hour, and the entire competition venue was filled with the sound of spiritual collisions from their battle, and there was no other sound. At this moment, a figure flew out of the battle light and fell towards the ring. The people watching stood up in excitement, wanting to see clearly who fell off the ring. Mainly because Xuanhuan and his opponent were both wearing white robes. Although the materials of the clothes were different, they fell off so fast that it was hard to tell who it was for a while. Yan Xiangluo's tightly clenched fists loosened. The person who fell down was not Xuanhuan. She knew Xuanhuan's figure very well, and she could recognize him even if he changed his clothes. As the man fell down, the light on the ring disappeared, and a tall figure stood on the ring. It was Xuanhuan. The people on the viewing platform suddenly let out sighs, and many people couldn't help shouting, "It was Xuanhuan who won. My God, he can actually fight beyond the level." There were 2 people on the referee's table who looked not very good. One was Changhong, demigod of Yun's Hang Palace, and the other was the continent lord of the Western continent. Because the person who was knocked out of the ring was the grandson of the lord of the Western continent, and he was also the favorite to enter the top 10 this time. Now, it stops here. I can't even participate in the 3rd day of the competition, let alone the chance to enter the top 10. At this time, the lord of the Western continent was somewhat complaining about demigod Changhong. This was demigod Chang Hong's decision to ask his grandson to eliminate Jizhou's Hong today. He did not agree with it at the time. After all, he was only one level behind in cultivation, which was still a bit suspenseful. But Chang Hong demigod promised that no matter what the outcome, he would let his grandson enter Yun's Hang Palace to practice for a year, so he agreed. After all, grandson only had the hope of entering the top 10. If he couldn't get in, he wouldn't be able to go to Yun's Hang Palace either. Only the top 10 are eligible to go to Yun's Hang Palace to practice for 1 year. That's why he agreed. Now that he saw his grandson losing in such an embarrassing manner, he felt that even if he could go to Yun's Hang Palace, his grandson's level might not be improved, and his state of mind was defeated. At this time, he regretted it very much. It was natural that Jizhou's Hong was displeased, and he wanted to let him die immediately. Wei Lan, the demigod, raised his eyebrows. The son-in-law was chosen well. His strength and realm were not half as strong. It looked like he didn't need to help. Jizhou's Hong looked at Yan Xiongluo first, and Yan Xiongluo immediately gave him a big smile and a thumbs up. Jizhou's Hong pursed his lips and smiled. At this time, being seen and appreciated by his beloved, there is nothing happier than this. No matter what everyone thinks, today's game is over. Bai Wuqian announced the mainland's promotion list and announced tomorrow's finals. The contestants who advanced to the top 100 were the first to leave. Jizhou's Hong glanced at Yan Xiongluo and left first. Yu Xiongluo didn't wait any longer and walked outside with Qi Hao and Fang 11er. Fang 11er was still talking all the way. Yan Xiongluo ignored her and separated from Fang 11er as soon as they went out. Miao Changjai stood in the dark, looking at the direction in which Yan Xiongluo was walking, and followed him quietly. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 584. Yan Xiongluo noticed someone following them when they came out of the competition ground. When they came to the entrance of the alley where they lived, Yan Xiongluo pulled Qi Hao across the entrance of the alley and continued walking into the street. Qi Hao was stunned for a moment, then acted as if nothing happened and walked wherever the master led him. Miao Changjai followed the two of them and watched as Yan Xiongluo led her apprentice into a dessert shop. After waiting for a long time, he didn't see her come out. Miao Changjai immediately walked over and took a look, and saw that there was no sign of Yan Xiongluo inside. Suddenly I knew that I had been discovered and dumped. His eyes were extremely gloomy. Miao Nagano originally thought that Jizhou's Hong was competing and couldn't come back. He might have a chance to take action on Yang Xiang, even if he just got the person first. At least he would feel better. But he didn't believe it anymore. Jizhou's Hong was willing to wear what others had worn. Shoo. He didn't expect that Yan Xiongluo would be so vigilant, that she would even find out about him and get rid of him. He had been hiding himself. He was sure that even if Yan Xiongluo found someone following her, she would not know who was following her, so she would get rid of him in this way. This further aroused his desire to conquer, and then he left the dim sum shop. With Sun Xiongluo's current reputation, it was easy to find out where she lived. In fact, Yan Xiongluo just wanted to avoid the people following them. It was no secret that she lived there, but she had Qi Hao with her. She didn't want Qi Hao to experience any more dangers, especially when she didn't know who her opponent was. In the case of, although there were hidden guards secretly following her, she didn't want Qi Hao to take risks. After the master and disciple returned to their residence, Qi Hao asked, "Master, is there anyone following us? Otherwise, why would master take him to the dessert shop, discuss with others, and leave through the back door?" Yu Xiongluo nodded and did not hide anything from Qi Hao. As her disciple, this kind of thing will definitely happen in the future. Only if he learns to protect himself is the best way to protect him. "Am I always dragging master down?" Qi Hao said, a little discouraged. If it weren't for himself, Master wouldn't have to take such a troublesome detour tonight. Everyone needs time to grow up, and Xiaohao is no exception. When you grow up, you can protect the master. The master protects you now, and you will protect the master in the future. This is what you should do. Yu Xianluo has never thought about any believers who don't ask for anything in return. That would only teach ungrateful people. Qi Hao nodded, well, I will protect master when I grow up. There's nothing wrong in the house. Don't worry, go back and rest. Yan Xianluo patted him on the shoulder and said. After saluting, Qi Hao returned to his courtyard, but instead of resting, he continued to practice. After Qi Hao left, she looked at Mingwei, who had been hesitant to speak since she came back. What's the matter? Mingwei immediately came over and handed her a letter. Miss Yu, this is a letter from a man who said it was a letter from the girl's adopted brother. Mingwei has been struggling with this matter. What kind of sworn brother does Miss Yu have? They, the hidden guards who follow their master, know Yu Xianluo very well. No matter it is the Tianqian continent or the higher continent, Yu Xianluo has nothing. The adopted brothers. This person doesn't want to have a relationship with her, he can think of any way. But he didn't dare to deal with the letter in private, so he decided to give the letter to Yan Xianluo and let her deal with it. Based on their understanding of Yan Xianluo, she is not someone who is easy to fool. If the other party is really a fake, Yan Xianluo will naturally deal with it. Ruan Xianluo's eyes lit up. She was still looking for a chance to meet her adopted brother. Unexpectedly, before she went to see her adopted brother, he actually came to see her first. Sure enough, it would be beneficial for her to spread her reputation as a miracle doctor. It's just that my sworn brother has been found. Why haven't my parents believed me yet? She took the letter and opened it. The letter was very simple, asking why she didn't contact him when she came to the higher continent, and whether she was afraid that he was a member of the demon clan. If so, he would not come to see her and let her find her when you have time. Yan Xianluo sighed. It seemed that the sworn brother had misunderstood. After reading the letter, she asked Mingwei, did the person who sent the letter say how to find him? Mingwei was stunned. Could it be that Miss Yu really has some sworn brother? But he still said truthfully, the man said he would come back in the morning. Yan Xianluo felt relieved and said, people are here, please come in and let me know immediately. Mingwei responded, yes. But I became even more curious. Thinking about the man who came today, the aura on his body was unfathomable. Could he really be Miss Yu's stepbrother? Does the master know? Yan Xianluo put the letter away and went back to her yard. Since she can see her adoptive brother tomorrow morning, she can just explain it then. She still has an important thing to do tonight, which is to find a way to solve Fang 11ER's fate change. She didn't rest all night, and she kept practicing the power of soul control. The power of soul control she was practicing at this time happened to be related to the aspect of luck. She had already practiced it during the day, and she was almost able to understand it thoroughly in one night. Yan Xianluo practiced all night. Early in the morning, Mingwei came to report that the man who delivered the letter yesterday was here. Yan Xianluo happily ran to the front yard and was stunned when she saw the man. If he wasn't his adopted brother, who was he? Fu Qingfeng raised his eyebrows when he saw the girl who came running happily. She looked stunned after seeing him. It seemed that the adopted sister recognized by the king still valued the king very much. At least she was happy to see him. To the king. Yan Xianluo calmed down her emotions and walked over. Who are you? The aura of the man in front of her was very sharp. Although he had tried his best to restrain it, Yan Xianluo still felt that he was not an ordinary person, especially the chilling aura in him, which was not something ordinary people could have. Why didn't the adopted brother come? Who is he? Fu Qingfeng bowed and said, my master has something to do and he has to go away. Knowing the news about Miss Yu, he arranged for his subordinates to come and see Miss Yu. Master said that he will come to visit Miss Yu in person in a few days. It became clear to Xianxia that she was a subordinate of her adopted brother. The subordinates were all so powerful. It seemed that her adopted brother's status in the demon world was not low. I should be the one who went to see my adopted brother. Originally, I was planning to go visit my adopted brother after the continental competition, Yan Xiangluo said matter-of-factly. She did think so. She would first complete the deal with the soul, then go to the Divine Doctor Mountain to pay homage to Master Shi, and then go to meet her sworn brother. Hearing this, Fu Qingfeng's brows softened. It turned out that she was also planning to see her master. Fortunately, she didn't mind that his master was a demon cultivator, but she didn't know if she really didn't mind or if she already knew his identity and wanted to take advantage of him. It has only been a few years since the master succeeded the demon king. Those spiritual cultivators do not know the identity of the master yet, but it is not ruled out that some well-informed people will know. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 585. As the number one counselor around the Demon King, Fu Qingfeng naturally did not get to his current position by luck. First of all, he had been with the Demon King since he was a child. Ge Tianjun was not the Demon King at that time. The most important thing was that he was thoughtful, cautious, and decisive. People in the demon world will describe Fu Qingfeng like this when they mention him: he is cunning, scheming, and ruthless. As for those people in the demon world, it's okay not to do this. Fu Qingfeng thought to himself that he had to be more vigilant. After learning about her, he arranged for people to secretly check for Xiangluo. From now on, he would also arrange for people to pay attention to her, just in case. Although the master is not here, I have asked my subordinates to ask if Miss Yu needs any help. If there is anything missing, I will send someone to prepare it immediately. Until he was sure whether Yan Xiangluo had any intentions, Fu Qingfeng still had to do what his master had told him to do. Yan Xiangluo shook her head and said, "Tell my sworn brother not to worry about me. Who has heard that the miracle doctor will be in need of something?" Fu Qingfeng's mouth twitched. Her words were quite straightforward. Well, her consultation fee is worth a lot of money, so she will definitely not be short of anything. Whatever you want, there are probably people who are willing to give it to you. This is the master's sound transmission stone. Miss Yu, please connect your sound transmission stone with the master's. This way, when Miss Yu wants to see the master, she will know where to go to see him. Fu Qingfeng took out one. The sound transmission stone was handed to Yan Xiangluo. This is also what the master told me. Yan Xiangluo immediately smiled. That's great, I can still talk to my sworn brother even if I can't meet him. She immediately took out her sound transmission stone and input a piece of her spiritual consciousness into Ge Tianjun's sound transmission stone. After returning Ge Tianjun's sound transmission stone to Fu Qingfeng, he asked, "When can I contact my sworn brother?" The sound transmission stone is in the man's hands, and it must be returned to Ge Tianjun before she can contact her sworn brother. Fu Qingfeng put away the sound transmission stone and said, "It will be done in an hour." He then gave her a gift ring and said, "This is the pocket money that the master gave to the girl." Yan Xiangluo took the gift ring and twitched the corner of her mouth. The last time she made a sworn vows to her, she gave her 100,000 high-grade spiritual stones. This pocket money was another 100,000 high-grade spiritual stones. She was now sure that her sworn brother's family was indeed there is a spirit stone mine, and it's not even one. "My brother is so generous," Yuan Xiangluo said with bright apricot eyes. Fu Qingfeng raised his eyebrows. This was different from what he thought. Shouldn't she restrain her emotions and hide her money-loving temperament? Thinking of the happy look on the king's face when he gave him the gift ring and what he said, "My sister is a little money lover." Now that he saw it, it turned out that she was indeed a money addict, and she did not hide her hobbies at all, which surprised Fu Qingfeng. At the same time, he also understood why the king became sworn friends with her. It was not just because of her superb medical skills that she saved the king's cultivation path. Fu Qingfeng had a good impression of Yan Xianglou at this time, and his tone became much gentler. The sound transmission stone is connected, and his mission is completed. When he sees his master, he will tell him, and they will be able to contact him in the future. Miss you, farewell. Fu Qingfeng didn't want to stay any longer. He came early in the morning because he didn't want to cause any trouble. Yu Xiangluo's place was now being watched by many people. Thank you for coming here. Yan Xiangluo thanked him. Fu Qingfeng didn't say his last name, and Yan Xiangluo didn't ask again. She asked at first, but Fu Qingfeng didn't say it, obviously because he didn't want to say it. She still has this kind of discernment. Fu Qingfeng was about to leave, but thinking of what he saw, he reminded her, from last night to now, there is a man with a hood who has been wandering around your residence. Be careful. Yan Xiangluo frowned. The person who followed her last night actually kept wandering around where she lived. Who was he and what was his purpose? Although I was confused in my heart, my face was very calm. Thanks for reminding me. Fu Qingfeng nodded, and after saluting, the figure disappeared. Seeing how calm she looked, there was no need to worry. Teleport. Yan Xiangluo was stunned. Is this man so strong? The cultivation levels of demonic cultivation and spiritual cultivation are the same. Only when spiritual cultivation reaches the level can one teleport, and the same goes for demonic cultivation. This shows that this man has a cultivation level above the level. What kind of cultivation level does his sworn brother Ge Tianjun have? This man gave her the impression that he was superior, and all his subordinates felt the same way. What about his status as a sworn brother? Although Mingwei, who had been standing aside, watched the two talking, his hearing was blocked by Fu Qingfeng and could not hear anything. He only saw that they connected the sound transmission stone. After Fu Qingfeng left, only then did he regain his sense of hearing. I was shocked, since when did I have such a powerful adopted brother? Yan Xiangluo didn't think much about it. She would be able to contact her stepbrother in an hour. She could ask him then. Calculating time now, it's not yet time for the competition to start in an hour, so I just want to chat with my adopted brother for a while. It was still early, so she went on to practice the power of soul control. The whole night's work was not in vain. She finally understood the part about destiny. The good news is that people like Fang 11er, whose fate has been changed, will not receive heavenly punishment if she helps them. The bad news is that it's not easy to help her. There is only one reason, that is, the person who changed Fang Xia's luck is unknown. If she knew who it was, she would have a way to change the changed luck back. After all, the change of luck is not over yet, and there is still a chance. Once the luck is changed, it was over, and she had no choice. At that time, if she had to change back, she would also receive heavenly punishment. Because, in the eyes of heaven, it was time for her to change her destiny. Chi Hao came to the kitchen in the master's yard to make breakfast after quitting practice in the morning. Yan Xiangluo looked at Chi Hao from the window, who was working in the kitchen, and took out the sound transmission stone. Brother, I am Xiangluo. As soon as she finished speaking, Ge Tianjun's voice came, Xiangluo, why didn't you contact me when you came? Ge Tianjun was pleased by Yan Xiangluo's clear voice. Having such a sister seemed to make him feel much better. Yan Xiangluo was extremely happy. Although she and Ge Tianjun didn't get along for long, and they only met twice, the fate between people does not depend on the length of time. I've been busy, haven't I? If I don't become stronger, I will be a drag, Yan Xiangluo said with a smile. The expression on Ge Tianjun's face was extremely gentle. All the subordinates standing next to him looked like they had seen a ghost. Only Fu Qingfeng looked normal. Since when did their king have a sister? They all looked at Fu Qingfeng. Fu Qingfeng raised his eyebrows and said nothing. Although they were all the king's confidants, he couldn't say what the king didn't say. This was a rule. Your brother, I'm afraid you'll drag me down. Although Ge Tianjun's tone was gentle, he still had a unique domineering tone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 586. Chapter 586 Must calm down. Yan Xianglou smiled even more happily when he heard this. Brother, after the continental competition, I am going to the Divine Doctor Mountain, and then I will go see you. Ge Tianjun calculated the time and said, okay, I will pick you up when the time comes. Yeah, Yan Xianglou nodded. It would be best if Ge Tianjun came to pick her up. She didn't know how to go to the demon clan to find him, so she rashly worried about getting him into trouble. The two of them didn't say much. They agreed that Yan Xianglou would contact him after she finished her work at the Divine Doctor Mountain, and he would pick her up and end the chat. Although it didn't last long, it was enough to shock the people around Ge Tianjun. Their king had never been so gentle before he succeeded the Demon King. This sister of the king was so charming, so how could the king be so gentle to her? Isn't she the woman the king likes? Fu Qingfeng, who knew about the existence of Yan Xianglou, frowned. The king was too kind to Yan Xianglou. He knew in his heart that the king was mostly grateful to Yan Xianglou, and he also had another kind of feeling, but it was definitely not between a man and a woman. Yu Xianglou saved the king when he was in the most critical moment. Although the king didn't say it, he also knew that the king's situation was very bad at that time, otherwise he would not have been exiled to a lower continent. However, even so, just use some money or help her a few times to repay the kindness. Otherwise, saving her once when her life is in crisis will just repay the kindness. Why do you want to be sworn with her? This is what Fu Qingfeng is most puzzled about. Today he met Yun Xianglou. To be honest, his impression of Yun Xianglou was not bad, but not so good that he was willing to sworn friends with her. He didn't understand the circumstances under which the king became sworn lord with Yan Xianglou. He was more inclined to believe that it was the conditions that Yan Xianglou had put forward in order to heal the king. The king was a person who kept his promise. He has followed the king since he was very young. The king is not a soft-hearted person, not to mention that there is a gap between spiritual cultivation and demonic cultivation between the two of them. This is what Fu Qingfeng is most worried about. Yan Xianglou is a spiritual practitioner. If one day, the two demon and spirit clans confront each other again, what will Yan Xianglou choose? He didn't believe that he could even think of the king, but the king would not think of it. However, the king was unabashed and sincere about his kindness to Ruan Xianglou. How did Ruan Xianglou impress the king? Fu Qingfeng felt that the king was not calm, and he had to be calm. There were many people waiting for the opportunity to find the Devil King's position. Wasn't it that the king was calculated last time? Relatives can kill the king, let alone outsiders who are not related by blood. What happened last time cannot happen again. After Yan Xianglou finished the conversation with her adopted brother, she took Qi Hao to watch the game in a good mood. Today is the last day and the most intense day of the competition. She wants to see Ji Zhikong get first place with her own eyes. The prizes for each continental competition were only announced after the results came out. She knew that Ji Zhikong wanted the first place, not for fame and fortune, nor for prizes, nor for entering Yun's Hang Palace. With his if you want to enter Yun's Hang Palace with your talent, you don't have to bother so much. There are 3 rewards for the first place in the competition. In addition to valuable prizes and a year of training in Yun's Hang Palace, there is also another reward, that is, the first place can enter the training place of the higher continent. This training place is not the same every time. Every 2 continental competitions, the first place can enter the training place with the highest level in the advanced continent. This year happened to be 2 times. The reason why I have to open it only once every 2 times is because it is very laborious to open it every time. It requires the joint efforts of 10 people with demigod cultivation to open it. Only one person can enter each time it is opened, and the one who enters is the person who won the first place in the continental competition. This is also the main reason why so many mainland young masters and young masters from various forces participated in this year's continental competition. It's all for this quota, just because every time the people who enter not only become powerful people in the mainland, but also bring great opportunities to the family. She knew very well how much Xuanhuan wanted to become stronger as soon as possible. Therefore, she knew that Xuanhuan's purpose of getting first place was to enter this training place. As soon as she left the house, the side from yesterday appeared again. Xianxia ignored it and took Qihao to the competition venue. Today she will come back with Xuanhuan and Xian, so she doesn't have to worry about safety. As for who the person behind the scenes is, she is not interested in knowing. If she was a strong person, he wouldn't be able to follow her all the time and not take action. Obviously, he is the kind of person who has a thief's heart, no courage and no strength. Xianxia guessed correctly. Miao Chengjai spent the night outside the house where she lived last night and didn't find a chance to go in. As soon as he got close to the courtyard wall, there was an aura stronger than his own. He didn't expect that the mansion was so tightly guarded that he couldn't find a chance to take action. But in broad daylight, when the incense fell, he did not dare to do anything. He really has a bad heart, no courage and no strength. He followed Ruanxiang outside the competition venue. When he saw Ruanxiang entered, he went to find someone to buy a wooden seat sign. Today's wooden cards were very expensive to buy, but there was no other way. What he wanted to watch most was today's game. This time his position was better, just to the side of Xianxia, but not in the first row, so Xianxia couldn't see him unless he turned around. Miao Chengjai knew that today he would have no chance to attack Xianxia, and he did not dare to openly provoke Xuanhuan. He stopped staring at Xianxia and concentrated on watching the game, wanting to see the strength of mainland geniuses. Then he will go to the demon clan. Xianxia glanced at the seat next to her. Why didn't Fang 11er come? Glancing at where the Fang family was sitting, there was no Fang 11er either. He frowned and turned to watch the game. At the beginning of the day, we still drew lots for the first round. After one round, 50 people were eliminated. In the second round, 25 people were eliminated. Then the remaining 25 people came on stage together, and finally 10 people were left. That is, the top 10, and then the top 10 will compete against each other to determine the ranking. Xianxia was not worried at all in the first 2 rounds. She was worried about the third round. Xuanhuan had nothing to do with anyone, and everyone else knew each other. As long as there were only 10 people left in this round, there will definitely be people who will stick together, and there will definitely be no people who will stick together with Xuanhuan. Hence, what makes Xuanhuan most sad is not the subsequent 2-person match for first place, but the third round knockout. Qihao was still most concerned about his uncle Xian, but he was disappointed. Xian was eliminated in the first round of eliminations. Xian is fine, after all, he knows his own strength, but Qihao is very depressed. Xianxia said funnily, "Didn't you see that the other uncles were also eliminated?" Qihao curled his lips and said something that made Xiang's face full of black lines. "They are not as powerful as my master." Xianxia felt that it was unnecessary for her to comfort him. She could not guess the thoughts of children, especially boys. End of this chapter. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 587. Yan Xiangleo continued to watch the second round of the competition. This round, Ji Zhong's opponent was another opponent with a higher cultivation level than him. But it's not the peak of the 9th level of the holy level. Yan Xiangleo frowned, and everyone in the audience was also paying attention to Ji Zhong, as if the other games on the stage were not worth watching. What is there to see? Yan Xiangleo felt that today's competition was really nothing to watch. Later on, the players in the competition became stronger. During the competition, you could only see the light of the impact of spiritual energy, but you couldn't see anyone at all. Unless your cultivation level was higher, then only when they are tall can you see their tricks clearly. That would also consume a lot of mental energy. Who would be willing to waste mental energy like this? Unless necessary. Hence, few of the people sitting on the stage can see how the people on the stage win. They can only see who wins and to what extent the loser loses. Although Ji Zhong and his opponent could not be seen, Yan Xiangleo's consciousness was strong enough that she could sense his aura, which was obviously not as good as the other aura. This opponent was much stronger than yesterday's opponent, even though they were both at the same level. People. Yan Xiangleo frowned. Sure enough, the people who have been able to stay till now are not very strong. Ji Zhong is at the 8th level of the holy level, and his opponent is at the 9th level of the holy level. Although he has not reached the peak of the 9th level, he is almost far away from the peak. She was worried that it was not the opponent in front of her, but the opponents he would face next, all of whom would be at the peak of the 9th level of the saint level. Even if Ji Zhong could fight beyond the level, the 9th level of the saint level would be at the peak of his cultivation. A person who has broken through to a god level cultivation level is not an ordinary 1-level cultivation level. Can he really get the first place? Although Yan Xiangleo knew that Ji Zhong was a very rational person, she was also worried that at a critical moment, he would fight desperately. It is just a split-second decision, but in this case it is a matter of life or death. Ji Zhong has not yet decided the winner in the arena, but Lu Yu has already taken the lead in defeating his opponent and is the first person to advance to the top 25. The old master of the mainland was very satisfied with his son's performance. Originally, he only hoped that his son would be in the top 10. Now he feels that his son's strength has not been fully exerted, and he is likely to compete for the first place. Opportunity. Suddenly I felt that it was the right decision to let him go to the Twilight training place for training, and he felt very good. Little did he know that Lu Yu had concealed it from him. His true cultivation was to allow the Lord of the Musui continent, his father, to allow him to enter the Musui continent's training ground to practice before the competition. He also wanted to consolidate his cultivation. Because, his goal is not to be in the top 10 in the competition, but to be first. The first place in this year's competition will not only be able to enter Yun's Hang Palace, but also enter the most powerful training place in the High Continent. As long as he can enter and come out again, let alone the position of the Lord of the Twilight Continent, he will be the Lord of the entire continent. Possible. At that time, he couldn't get anything he wanted, let alone a woman. But his goal is not so narrow. He wants to go to the 9 heavens. This is his ultimate goal. Lu Yu calmly walked down the stage and was the first to sit on the seat prepared for the top 25 people. Everyone's attention was also attracted to him. They all whispered about Lu Yu. Although Lu Yu's cultivation is strong enough, he is handsome enough, and his status is high enough, but because he likes beauty, no woman from a good family will have any feelings of admiration for him, but some want to be rich and powerful. Women are prone to thoughts, but they also have to consider whether their appearance can catch Lu Yu's eyes. The women around Lu Yu are more beautiful than the last, but there are absolutely no women who can stay with him for a long time, and there are very few who have been in this position for more than a year. Ji Zhong's stage was the last to come to an end. Although Ji Zhong still won, the people watching and even the people on the referee's table saw that he looked a little embarrassed and felt that he could only enter the top 25. After all, those who entered the top 25 were without exception all at the peak of the 9th level of the section. It was a fluke that he could enter the top 25 with an 8th level cultivation of the sect. Although Xuanhuan struggled to win this time, he remained as indifferent as before and sat in the 8th position. Yanxiangluo followed Xuanhuan with her eyes and breathed a sigh of relief when she saw that he had not taken any healing elixir. This meant that he was not injured. He was just looking at the mess and twitched the corner of his mouth secretly. This man was pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. Looking at the 7 tigers who were already sitting in front of him, Yanxiangluo was worried again. In the next round of the competition, 24 tigers will eat his 1 pig. Is he sure he can handle it? Jiju's important thing is that he knows that Yanxiangluo compared him to a pig and doesn't know what he will think. After the next round of competition started, Yanxiangluo knew Xuanhuan's intention. At the beginning of the competition, the other 24 people did not take him seriously. After all, his cultivation level was only the 8th level of the saint level. He was already in a very embarrassing situation in the previous round. He was destined to be eliminated in this round. Therefore, they pay more attention to opponents of equal strength. They all look for opportunities to take down the most threatening opponent in this melee. As for Xuanhuan, it will be an easy thing when the time comes. Even Lu Yu didn't take Xuanhuan seriously, but when Xuanhuan looked for opportunities to knock his opponents off the ring one after another, the remaining people finally realized that they had underestimated Xuanhuan. Even the referees had a dark look on their faces. A group of people with only strength but no brains were fooled by an 8th level saint level cultivator. On the referee's bench, only the demigod Wei Lan was truly happy. The little girl had good eyesight, and the man she selected was truly extraordinary. With such a high talent and such a flexible mind, there is no one who can compare with him among the major families in the higher continent. At this time, there are only 15 people left in the arena out of 25, which means that 5 more people have to be eliminated to end this elimination round. Lu Yu looked at Xuanhuan with gloomy eyes. He could never let him enter the top 10. Although he had never regarded him as an opponent, he could not tolerate Xuanhuan getting the honor of the top 10. In fact, he was still worried about Xuanhuan's cultivation talent. He had only been in the high continent for a few months, and he actually reached the 8th level of holy level cultivation. As a native of the high continent, he also had a strong backing from the father of the lord of the continent. With countless cultivation resources, he only broke through the saint level at the age of 28, and was already 33 when he reached the 8th level of the saint level. Being promoted to the same level, he is 11 years younger than Xuanhuan. What is this concept? It means that his talent is far inferior to Xuanhuan. This is a reality that he is unwilling to face. The fragrance falls ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 588. Others also looked at each other. They had no personal grudges with Xuanhuan, but they would never allow what happened in the last continental competition to happen again. Last time, a person with an 8th level holy level cultivation won the first place. They scolded the high-level mainlanders who participated in the competition. They didn't want to be the target of scolding this time. It is already a great insult to them that people from the lower continent step on their heads once. If they let people from the lower continent step on their heads again this time, what qualifications do the people from the higher continent have to put the lower continents on their heads again? People in mainland China treat them like ants. Therefore, now is the best opportunity to eliminate Xuanhuan. After all, this is the only round of the continental competition that is a group fight. Xuanhuan had already stomped all their faces on the ground in the first round. If he was allowed to enter the top 10 again, their faces would be completely impossible to pick up. Hence, one look at each other and understand each other's meaning without using words. In addition, What Lu Yu wanted was not only to eliminate Jizhong, but his life. Therefore, except for Jizhong, the other 14 people silently reached an agreement to eliminate Jizhong first, and then they would eliminate him. The remaining 4. No matter what method is used, the Continental Hegemony Tournament does not say that joining forces to deal with opponents is not allowed. Jizhong naturally sensed what they meant and narrowed his eyes slightly. Since he dared to participate in the continental competition, he was naturally fully prepared. Although the Continental Hegemony competition is about cultivation strength and it is prohibited to use any dirty methods, such as poisoning, using mysterious texts, etc., the use of formations and battle pets is not prohibited. This is also the main reason why Jizhong has the confidence to stand here. The development of things is under his control. Even if the 14 of them join forces to deal with him now, it is too late. There would have been hope if they had joined forces from the beginning, but there was hope, and now there is no hope at all. In the eyes of everyone, the atmosphere on the competition stage was a bit strange at this time. 14 people stood on one side, and Jizhong stood alone on the other side. Who could not understand this obvious clique? Why do you feel a little blushing? This scene is obviously the high-class mainlanders joining forces to bully the lower-class mainlanders. The key point is that if any one of the people from the higher mainland has a higher level of cultivation than others, and they want to join forces to deal with them, isn't this ridiculous? Yan Xiongluo's eyes were filled with smiles. Jizhong was really arrogant. Chi Hao couldn't see through it and said worriedly, "Master, do they want to shamelessly join forces to deal with Master?" The people sitting next to him and behind him all heard Chi Hao's words. They also felt that these people were a bit too shameless. You said that any one of you has a higher level of cultivation than others. Even if you can't defeat others by yourself, you have to join forces with 2 people. Just go ahead and don't make it so obvious about joining forces, okay? As high-class mainlanders, they all feel that they are indeed too shameless. Yan Xiongluo smiled lightly and said, "It doesn't matter, they are no match for him if they join forces." This is a bit too much to say. With so many 9th-level holy masters joining forces, why are they no match for Jizhong, an 8th-level holy master? They admitted that Jizhong did have the ability to fight across levels, but he was not capable of fighting so many people across levels. Everyone who heard her words looked at Yan Xiongluo with disdain. "Even if you are a miracle doctor, we cannot agree with your words." Chi Hao's eyes suddenly lit up. "Master, can Master make it into the top 10? "Of course," Yan Xiongluo said without hesitation. "There is still something I haven't said in my heart. Not only can I be in the top 10, but I can also win the first place. It's just that I haven't gotten it yet, so I'd better keep a low profile." She didn't know that what she said now was already high profile enough in the eyes of others. "Then I'll be relieved." Chi Hao immediately patted his chest. He felt that he was more worried about his master than Uncle Xixian just now. His heart was beating very fast, as if it was about to jump out of his mouth. However, after the master's words, his little heart immediately returned to its original position and started to beat steadily. Jizhong glanced at the people opposite him and raised the corners of his lips. Only the 14 people opposite him could see this subtle movement, but without exception, they all felt that Jizhong was mocking them. The 14 people across from them all looked a little embarrassed. They were bullying the minority so obviously. No one was stupid. With so many people watching, it was impossible to say that they were not embarrassed at all. However, no matter how embarrassing it is, you must do what you have to do. A man wearing a green robe said, "What are you still doing? Hurry up and finish it as soon as possible." Someone started, and the others stopped waiting. In an instant, each of the 14 people struck out a stream of spiritual energy and rushed toward Jizhong. Everyone on the viewing platform exclaimed in shock. 14 masters with peak 9th level holy level cultivation attacked together. Xuanhuan was probably not knocked off the ring this time, but died under the ring. Even the two Yun's hang palaces on the referee's table and the lords of the continent frowned. Although they did not object to him bullying Xuanhuan more than others, the way he rushed to kill him still made them feel uncomfortable. Especially the demigod Wei Lan, he is really worried that Xuanhuan will die in the ring. He is Yan Xiangluo's fiancé, so that girl is not going to die of sadness. Chi Hao stood up nervously and kept saying, "Master, what should I do? What should I do? They want to kill Master, they are so despicable." Everyone around them feels embarrassed. It is already embarrassing for so many of you to bully a person with a lower cultivation level than you. It is indeed not an ordinary shame for you to blatantly want someone's life. Although people do die every time in the continental competition, this time it is considered good. There are no deaths yet, but there are also many serious injuries. Yan Xiangluo was very calm. "Don't worry, they are not his opponents." Hearing this, Chi Hao looked at Yan Xiangluo in disbelief, and then heard everyone's exclamations, and quickly turned to look at the ring. They saw Xuanhuan standing calmly opposite the crowd, and the combined spiritual power of everyone attacked a place one step away from him, as if blocked by some invisible force. Not only was it blocked, but it also bounced back. 14 extremely powerful spiritual attacks came together to form a huge pillar of light. When it was bounced back, it doubled in size. The dazzling light made everyone watching close their eyes. But then he opened his eyes again, worried that he would miss the most exciting scene. The 14 people on the opposite side didn't even react. In a panic, they hurriedly resisted the counterattack. Because they wanted to kill Xuanhuan, their attack was not even the strongest one, and the rebound power was doubled. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 589. Even if they reacted and tried to block it with all their strength, they could not stop it. For a moment, the 14 people were like fairies scattering flowers, flying backwards after being attacked. The 14 people could only watch them leave the ring and fall towards the ring, without any trace of it. There is no way. Then he heard the sound of falling to the ground, which showed how strong the counterattack was. Suddenly, the whole place was silent. No one expected that this would be the case. They originally thought that Xuanhuan was dead, but they didn't expect that he would knock everyone off the ring with one person. How to calculate this? This round of competition normally only determines the top 10, but now Xuanhuan is the only one on the stage. How can the competition continue? Is it even skipping the subsequent competitions? Everyone on the referee's table was also surprised. They did not expect such a result. The Twilight Lord of the continent, who was in a happy mood just now, is now livid. His son is among such embarrassing people. Others on the referee's table also felt very embarrassed. It was already embarrassing for so many people to use killing moves against others. But now that they hadn't succeeded, they were instantly killed by Xuanhuan, who had a lower level of cultivation than them. Xuanhuan was also stunned. Although this was the first time he encountered such a situation, his reaction was still very fast. He was the first to come to his senses, glanced at Xuanhuan standing on the stage, and quickly followed Xianxia the demigod discussed with the demigod Wei Lan. Two demigods, what should we do now? Baiwukan can't make the decision in this matter, nor can any continent master. Even the master of the northern continent who holds the competition can't make the decision. He would not cause trouble to his master, so he asked two people from Yun's Hang Palace. Have to admit that Baiwukan is not an ordinary clever man. No wonder he is so respected by the lord of the northern continent. Xianxia demigod was brought back to his senses by Baiwukan's words. He narrowed his eyes and glanced at Xuanhuan. He didn't expect that his formation skills were so strong. Even he didn't know when Xuanhuan set up the formation. It was a defensive and counter-attack formation, and the counter-attack force was doubled. He didn't sense it until the 14 people's power fell on the formation. He felt that Xuanhuan had shown mercy when he set up the formation, otherwise the formation would have been doubled to counterattack. If the formation were doubled, no one would know how many of the 14 of them would survive. Such people must be taken into Yun's Hang Palace. He turned to Wei Lan and said, "Wei Lan, what do you think should be done?" Wei Lan, the demigod, was very speechless. Normally, his eyes would be higher than his head and he would always compete with himself. However, at this time, his attitude was very good. He thought he was stupid. This time he is just an assistant. Xuanhuan asked him for his opinion because he did not want to take responsibility. Does he still understand this? The palace master said, "I am just assisting you, just let me follow your arrangements, it is up to you to decide." Demigod Wei Lan was originally very dissatisfied with the palace master's arrangement. He felt that since the palace master trusted Xuanhuan more, he should not arrange for him to follow him. Who in Yun's Hang Palace didn't know that the two of them would not deal with it? Now he feels that the palace master has helped him. Xuanhuan demigod twitched his lips. Knowing that Wei Lan could not be used, he turned to the continental masters and said, "The continental competition has always selected the top 10. Now there is only one person left, which is against the rules. What do you think?" The 16 continental lords dared not have any objections, and they all said, "It's fine as long as the demigod Xuanhuan decides." They also understood the meaning of Xuanhuan's half-myth, and they couldn't ask for it, let alone object. After all, several of them had descendants among those 14. Xuanhuan demigod nodded and said, "Since Xuanhuan defeated them all by himself, let's advance to the top 10 first, and then 14 of them will compete on the stage to determine the other 9." All the lords of the continent nodded immediately. Xuanhuan demigod is wise. Demigod Wei Lan didn't stop him either. He knew very well that even for the sake of the face of the higher continent, Xuanhuan would not let the game end like this. It's hard to say it, but it's hard to say it well. Last time in the continental competition, a person from an inferior continent with a low cultivation level took the first place. If someone from an inferior continent were to take over the top 10 this time, it would be terrible. It's really embarrassing. Fortunately, Xuanhuan was strong enough. He was worried for nothing just now. He was already thinking about whether to save others, but this kid defeated everyone in such a shocking way. Sharp. He has never admired anything in so many years, but now he admires Xuanhuan sincerely. Seeing that everyone agreed, Xuanhuan demigod immediately motioned to BeautifulFemaleLead to announce it. BeautifulFemaleLead was extremely shocked. He was very lucky that he did not provoke Xianxia and Xuanhuan. Each of these two people was more perverted than the other. Whether it is talent or IQ. He walked to the middle of the judges' wives, asked what was going on in his mind, and used his spiritual power to spread the sound so that everyone could hear it. Xuanhuan was directly promoted to the top 10, and the other 14 people came back to the stage to compete and decide the other 9. Chi Hao, who was cheering excitedly, was immediately dissatisfied after hearing BeautifulFemaleLead's words, "They have all been kicked off the ring by their master, how can they still be qualified to compete?" Xianxia smiled and pulled him to sit down. This round of competition is to determine the top 10. It's not enough to determine only one, so naturally it will continue. Xianxia's general words made everyone around him feel hot when they heard it. It was so embarrassing. It was so embarrassing. It was the first time I watched a game and I felt so embarrassed. This time I feel even more embarrassed than the last time in the continental competition. Last time I was only taken first place, but this time I was slapped in the face again and again. If Xuanhuan takes the first place in the end, People from the higher continent may no longer dare to look down on people from the lower continent. Ji Xuanhuan on the stage was not surprised at all after hearing Bai Wuqian's words. There would definitely be no top 10 in the entire competition, so he expected this decision. He calmly saluted the referee's table and then walked down from the ring and went to sit down in the 10-person seat. The other 14 people who had fallen off the ring had climbed up in embarrassment and got back on the ring. They all felt embarrassed, but the competition would continue. There were also injured people who had secretly taken healing elixirs. Fortunately, their identities were all ordinary, and the level of the healing elixirs was high enough. When they came on stage, apart from looking a little embarrassed, they really didn't look like they were injured. But everyone is holding a breath in their hearts and wants to advance to the top 10. Only by advancing to the top 10 can they have a chance to defeat Ji Xuanhuan and avenge their humiliation. None of them can bear this sudden humiliation. Lu Yu's face was extremely ugly. He had never been so embarrassed in his life, and it was in public. But there is nothing he can do now. He must end the game quickly and enter the next round of two-person battle. He hopes to face Ji Xuanhuan in the first battle. The battle between 14 people was a bit awkward, but it was also extremely fierce. After all, no one wanted to be eliminated. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 590. In this case, it would be even more embarrassing to be eliminated. However, only 9 people can be left out of the 14, so naturally 5 of them will be eliminated. Lu Yu felt depressed and became much more ruthless with his attacks. 3 of the 5 people were knocked off the ring by him. Just to end this round quickly, he felt like they were like clowns on the stage at this time. The people watching also felt a little uncomfortable. Although the competition was fierce, they just couldn't get excited. From time to time, their eyes drifted towards Ji Xuanhuan, who was sitting in the winning position. They all felt that although he came from a lower continent, they felt that he exuded natural nobility from his bones. He was not pretending, but was in harmony with life. All. Now everyone present suddenly realized that Ji Xuanhuan's status in the lower continent was probably very noble. Most likely a member of the royal family. This reminded them of the high continent in the past. At that time, there were royal families, but they were gradually replaced by major forces, so that now there are still demon kings in the demon world, but there is no royal family in their spiritual world. Everyone's mood is a bit complicated. Next, the 10 people still have to draw lots to decide their opponents. 5 of the 10 will be left, and the top 3 will be determined by the 5. At this moment, Fang 11er came and sat down next to Yan Xiangluo. Yan Xiangluo looked at her and saw that she looked not very good, as if she was tired. After using the power of soul control, his eyes shrank. It seemed that the change of luck was about to end. He had to take action immediately, otherwise he wouldn't be able to help her even if he wanted to. "Why are you here? You look bad and feel uncomfortable," Yuan Xiangluo asked via voice transmission. She didn't want to expose herself as a heavenly master in front of Fang 11er, but she still wanted to help her, so she had to find a reason. If you want to help her, you must use the power of soul control. Her body will definitely feel the power. There is no more appropriate excuse than using the excuse to heal her. Fang 11er also sent a message to her, "I couldn't sleep all night last night. I felt very uncomfortable and couldn't tell where I felt uncomfortable. As a result, I fell asleep in the morning and woke up at this time. Although I woke up, but it's still uncomfortable." Ruan Xiang understood. It seemed that the person who secretly changed her luck was beside her, so she could save some energy. But who was this person? Even if she helped her get her luck back, would it be stolen again? What about changing luck? When the time comes that he is not by her side, Fang 11er will really be in danger. I will use my spiritual power to help you clear your meridians, and you will feel comfortable immediately. Yan Xianglou needed such an opportunity. Fang 11er hesitated and said, "Will anyone find out?" Yan Xianglou naturally understood who she meant by being discovered, and said confidently, "Don't worry, even the person sitting next to you won't notice." "Okay, thank you sister, this is the first time I feel so uncomfortable since I awakened my spiritual roots and started practicing." Fang 11er did not refuse, which showed how uncomfortable she was now. "Relax and don't resist." Yan Xianglou reminded her that not everyone has such trust. Fang 11er trusted her very much and said without hesitation, "Okay." Yan Xianglou controlled the power of soul control and wrapped Fang 11er's whole body. Then, a line appeared in her consciousness. Consciousness follows this line. This line is the input line for changing luck, and it is also the only way for Yan Xianglou to track the location of the person who changed luck with Xianxia. The further the distance, the longer it takes. The thinner this line is, it means that the change of luck is about to end. When this line disappears, the change of luck is completely completed. The thread in front of her was as thick as an embroidery thread, and it was obviously about to end. Yan Xianglou started to act immediately. If she said a few more words, it might be too late. But Yan Xianglou found this person's location as soon as he tracked him, so close. This man was sitting where the Fang family was, in the same row as her. Yan Xianglou turned around and saw a woman who was younger than Fang 11er. She was wearing an orange-red dress. Her appearance was not beautiful, she could only be regarded as a delicate beauty. However, her eyebrows were spread apart, and she was obviously a woman. "People." Yan Xianglou frowned. The man next to this woman was Fang 11er's third uncle. She didn't know what the identity of this woman was. Was she the daughter of Fang 11er's third uncle or a woman? Yan Xianglou looked away naturally without disturbing the other party. She knew in her heart that her third uncle should be very aware of the matter of changing Fang 11er's luck, and he had even hired someone to do it. Just who is the person who comes in to replace someone? Uncle Fang 11er didn't have any soul-controlling power, nor did anyone around him. Now she can only find that person by following her breath after changing her luck. Yan Xianglou used her consciousness to control the power of soul control and pulled back a thread on the woman. In this way, there were two threads between Fang 11er and the woman, but the two threads had different functions. The previous thread became a thread that pulled back Fang 11er's destiny, and the thread that Yan Xianglou pulled out again extracted the woman's original destiny from Fang 11er and returned it to the woman. In an instant, the thread that was as thin as embroidery thread suddenly became thicker. Thinking that the other party was plotting against someone she cared about, a dark light flashed across Yan Xianglou's apricot eyes, and she did nothing. Simply changing her destiny like this was not in line with her style of retribution. The Celestial Master will have to bear the consequences of changes in the way of luck on each person's body, but he does not have to bear the consequences of changes when the way of luck changes on his way back. After this idea appeared in her mind, Yan Xianglou felt a little nervous. It seemed that the power of the Heavenly Master was not so tight and had loopholes. She immediately used the power of soul control to extract the bad part of Fang 11er's luck. No matter it was good or not, it was still luck. She couldn't let the luck disappear out of thin air. She put the bad part of the extracted luck directly and replaced it. In the line of the woman's destiny in the orange-red dress, these fortunes follow that line and return to the body of the woman in the orange-red dress, merging with her soul. Yan Xianglou doesn't have that much time to spend a long time to change the fate of the two. On the one hand, she is worried that the other party will find out what will affect the change of luck. The other is that she wants to give Xianxia soothing meridians, so the time cannot be too long. Hence why she chose quick change, which consumes more soul control power. It's not something that ordinary heavenly masters can do. The woman in the orange-red dress twisted her body as if she sensed something. The third master of the Fang family noticed her movements and asked, "What's wrong?" The woman shook her head. "Suddenly I felt a little uncomfortable." The third master of the Fang family said, "It should be because I didn't get a good rest last night. Get a good rest tonight. Your life will be different starting tomorrow."